Okay, I think we can start. Okay, so hi everyone. Thank you for joining my talk, and I really am glad to see that you understand how important incident management is, and this is why you're here. Um, so I believe that when I recall in my high school, the common belief was that if you'll actively listen in class, you'll have 50% of the exam prep already in your pocket. And I want to show you how I adopted this belief to an actual approach that you can adopt as well, that will help you come prepared for incidents, both things that you can do in your day-to-day and after the fact, after an incident took place, you can already come prepared, and I'm going to show you how to do it in this presentation. So first of all, hi, my name is Hila Fish. I'm a senior DevOps engineer and I work for Wix. I have 15 years of experience in the tech industry, which is the most important bit about me for this presentation because it means that I've seen a lot of things, a lot of horror stories, both in enterprises, in startups, the whole works. I dealt with incidents when I was on call, when I wasn't on call. So that's why I am equipped to come and tell you these things that I'm going to share with you here in this presentation. I am a firm believer of communities. This is why I'm part of AWS Community Builders Program, and I'm also a HashiCorp ambassador because I talk about Terraform quite a lot. I also help organize conferences in Israel, where I live, DevOps Days Tel Aviv. I'm a mentor in courses and communities, and I am, in my spare time, when I have spare time, I'm a lead singer in a cover band, as you can see in this picture, and it is a lot of fun. And just side note, follow your dreams, it's important. So the agenda for today is we will cover the mindset that you should have in order to manage incidents. We will cover a structured incident management flow that will help you solve an incident step by step. We will cover some needed on-call traits that you should have as an incident manager and how to perfect or at least improve these traits. And finally, what I told you at the beginning, how to be proactive in your day-to-day and after an incident took place in a way that will help you come prepared for incidents. So first of all, just to have a baseline here, what is incident management? It is a set of procedures and actions taken to resolve critical incidents. And basically, it is an end-to-end process that defines how incidents are detected and communicated, who's responsible to handle them, what tools are used to investigate and respond, and what steps are taken towards resolution. And the thing about the mindset and overall management of incidents is the fact that you need to reframe your perspective. And I've seen throughout my career people that come and say, oh my God, I have an incident, I need to fix it. And they're in an ad hoc kind of a scenario where there's an incident, I need to fix it, I need to put out this fire, and that's it. So yeah, there's this approach. But in the terms of this approach, we need to think about several things. So first of all, not all pages that you get become an incident. Sometimes it's just something that is not really have an effect. When does it really become an incident? When there's a loss in revenue, customers, data, and reputation. And if we don't have an incident management process, then it could mean that we would potentially lose valuable data. Downtime could potentially lead to reduced productivity and revenues, and the business could also be held liable for breach of service level agreements. There are a lot of talks about SLAs and how to define them, but basically businesses have SLAs, and if we don't manage incidents and make sure the downtime will be decreased to the minimum, then the businesses will breach these SLAs, and it's not good for the business. So this means that we need to shift the perspective towards having a business mindset to have a structured process of incident management. Which means first it starts with the fact or the notion of we shouldn't think only about the systems, because I talked with a lot of people and say, yeah, I love my stack, it's Kubernetes, it's all sorts of technical things. But then when I ask some questions like, why do you use Kubernetes? I don't know, because it's cool. This is not a good answer, okay? You need to understand why are you doing things in a certain way, why did you choose Kubernetes, why and how things are linked to the business, and always ask the why in order to link the things that you do to the business, not only to understand the impact, but also for you to have like a sense of urgency or like to understand why are you doing things and how does it affect the business that you are working for. So business mindset is needed to grasp the overall impact of incidents and mitigate damages. So another thing that is really important for managing incidents is basically the notion, and we need to always remind ourselves that everything fails all the time. Everything. Who said it? Me, throughout my career, but it's hard to quote myself, so I'm not going to do it. And I found another person that said it and has much more reputation than me in the industry, AWS CTO Werner Vogels, so take his word for it. Everything fails all the time. Basically, production systems and systems that we buy and systems that we build, and even the systems that we rely on to understand if our production systems are down or not, right? Even our monitoring systems can be down. So everything fails all the time. And yeah, incidents are mayhem by nature, but if we come prepared and we say, hey, we know that something could break because we know that everything fails all the time, we are prepared to deal with it. And then it already will shift you from the putting out fires ad hoc approach to having a mindset of, okay, I was prepared for that, let's see what to do with it next. So a structured process of an incident, what does it mean? So if every time things happen like bit by bit, and sometimes recurring incidents happen, and sometimes something new, so how can it be structured? So I'm going to show you. Basically, structured process can lead to incident prevention, improved mean time to resolution, MTTR, and cost reduction because downtime was reduced or eliminated entirely. And basically, it will help us preserve our business customers and reputation. So this is the structure that I'm talking about. I've taken the reference, the structure reference itself from OnPage, but basically, I found that I basically acted upon this structure throughout my career and just didn't put a name to it. So this is the structure, and we will go over each pillar and ask ourselves certain questions in order to progress to the next step. But beforehand, just a quick note, in my entire career, I found out that there are basically two people that handle incidents. The one that are like saying, keep calm, I'm an engineer. And the one that says, I can't keep calm, I'm an engineer. So these are the two types I know about, but I say that, hey, you can keep calm if you ask yourselves the questions that I'm gonna share with you right now, and then it will help you be under control and fix the issue as soon as possible. So first pillar is identify and categorize. So the first question that you should ask yourself is, do I understand the full extent of the problem and the business impact, of course, because sometimes the alert is there, but you're not sure what is the effect. And we always need to understand what is the effect for the business impact idea. So if we know the full extent of the problem and we know the business impact, great, let's dive in and basically notify people, which is the next step. And if not, we need to gather information because we need to understand what's going on before we do anything. We don't want to stress people out for something that eventually will be something small, right? The next question is, can this alert or issue or incident wait and be handled in business hours? If you are not sure, then ask. Use the information that you gathered and escalate if needed. And I will also tell you afterwards that if, let's say, you found that it could wait for business hours and maybe this alert is currently classified as critical, then fix the alert and change it to severity low because it's not really critical. But we will discuss this a bit later. So check if this alert can be handled in business hours. If you're not sure, ask. If so, go on. And think about the alert or the incident itself that you got to know about. Was I notified about this issue from the proper or expected channels, aka if I found out from the PagerDuty or OpsGenie app, that's great. If not, if I got it from a user complaint, that is not great. We have reputation to hold on to. So if so, great. If not, if we did heard about it from a user complaint, stuff like that, add a note to self to fix it. What is not to self? Of course, ticket in Jira. Don't put it in the backlog. Fix it when you can. Next pillar, notify and escalate. So we understand the full extent of the issue. Great. Now, who should be notified about this incident? We have two paths here. One is during the incident. And you need to decide based on incident importance. So maybe you need to alert support engineers or customer engineers that needs to communicate it if it's critical enough for customers. Like, hey, we know this, we have this issue. We are putting our best effort to fix it. Thank you for your patience, blah, blah, blah. So this is during the incident. And in general, maybe there are other teams that have a flow of their own that rely on the system that currently is down. So we need to tell them, hey, your flow is going to be affected because our system is down. Just be aware of that. So that's about that. And another question is, does this incident need escalation? So for other teams, for resolution, because maybe I checked things on my end and I found that everything is okay on my end, and just other part of the chain gets a break and I need someone else's to help me fix the issue on their side. And as I said, for support or customer facing, for FYI, know that the incident is there, and we need to make sure that the users know about it, and we will notify you as well once it gets resolved. Next pillar, investigate and diagnose. So what information is relevant towards the incident resolution? We need to focus on what's important and relevant to fix the issue, because focusing on the non-relevant information will throw you off route and make you lose valuable data and valuable time, mostly during debugging. I've seen it happen quite a lot. People went to different paths, like, why are we checking this if we know this is, if the log says this, or if we know the chain of events is X. So we always need to focus on the relevant information towards the actual resolution. And also remember that any system flow usually comprises of a lot of moving parts, and you need to focus on the relevant part that is currently suffering. Maybe I have only an issue between the server and the database, so I don't need to check something on the front end because it's not the current thing that is currently affected. It's also good for escalation. If you need to escalate, tell them, hey, the database is not answering, and not the front end shows that they don't care about the front end. They care about the database because they are the team that's responsible for the database. So don't overburden people with information. Just tell them exactly what they need to know. Okay, I thought about the information. I debugged the issue. Now, did I find the root cause, and do I understand the root cause? If so, great. If not, we need to investigate some more and also escalate if it takes long. Why? Because we need to think about the business, right? We don't want to take long and say, no, I got this, and waste time on debugging while you don't have any idea what to do. You're not sure how to fix the issue. Escalate and find someone that will help you fix the issue. And also, we need to prioritize root causes over surface level symptoms. If you have an alert in the middle of the night of a service on server is stopped, yeah, you can go to the server and start the service and hope for the best, or you can check why the service got stopped in the first place. Okay, so don't check only service level symptoms, but check why stuff happened in the first place, because that way we can expose underlying issues that could potentially harm our systems. Next pillar, resolve and recovery. So we debugged, we know what's going on. Now, which possible remediation step is the best one to take? We should choose the fastest solutions to eliminate downtime without compromising system health and stability. Why fast? First of all, because we want to go back to sleep, of course, but also because we want to make sure downtime is reduced to the minimum. And if we do it fast, probably it means that the downtime will be reduced. But fast sometimes means patches, right? So if, let's say, you decided on a patch in the middle of the night, all the stakeholders, all the teams agreed this is the way to go, fix the patch like permanently, okay? Because we don't want to have the system being not stable, and usually patch is something that is just like a band-aid. So make sure that you fix it permanently and prevent any recurring issue if because of the patch or anything else that you could think of. And in general, if you have any action items that are needed after resolving the issue, also address them, because we want to make sure the system is as stable as it could be. And last but not least, closure of the incident itself. Also on this pillar, we have things to do. It's not like we close the issue and that's it, we're done. We have things to do here as well. So first thing to think about is, do I need to notify anyone on the incident resolution? So we need to be end-to-end communicators. So the same people that we notified at the beginning, we need to notify them at the end that, hey, the issue is now resolved. Why? First, we need to be end-to-end communicators, but also because it could help us understand if the issue and the incident really got resolved. Sometimes we see that everything is okay, but then once we tell the customers, customer engineers to communicate it to the customers, and they say, yeah, the Germany crowd said that it still doesn't work for them, and then maybe there are stuff that's still not working. So for other parts of the world it works, but for Germany not, for example. Stuff could happen. So be an end-to-end communicator, both to be as professional as you can be, but also to help you understand if the issue really got resolved as you thought it would be. Alerts. So I mentioned it at the beginning. I'm gonna mention it right now as well. Were the alerts okay, or they need tweaking? Maybe we need to change alert severity from critical to low, or vice versa. Maybe we need to fix false positives. I had a lot of false positives alerts throughout my entire dealing with production. And any tweaking of any way that you need to do to alerts, do it, because eventually it's not only for understanding what's going on with the systems, but it's also for you. If you will have false positive alerts all the time, it will eventually bring you to burnout, and you don't want it. You want to make sure that the team, the department invest enough resources, not only on fixing things in production, but also fixing, monitoring things that will help you deal with the systems in the day-to-day, because if not, burnout, you will feel like you are not being heard, seen, and it's not great. So make sure that you check the alerts to make sure that they are really as they should be. Relevant incidents, relevant incident runbooks. So incident runbook is usually like a document that you write that will help you fix incidents. When incident runbooks are very, very useful, whenever there is a need of either step-by-step things, and there are too much steps to do and you can't automate them, so you need to have like a step-by-step document, or when you need some sort of a judgment, like if this happens, do X, but if this happens, then you need to do Y. So if judgment is needed, or if there are too many steps that needs to be taken and you cannot automate it, then incident runbooks are very great to have. It really helps and saves time during the incidents themselves. So check the incident runbooks. Are there even exist? Is there a runbook in place? If so, check if it is up to date, because I had cases where there was an incident runbook. I was able to go over it and follow it until the middle, and then in the middle it was not relevant anymore. So of course, after the incident, I updated it because I didn't want other people to suffer from it. So check the relevant incident runbooks. If they are there, if they are up to date, it really will help you during incidents. Can I help prevent similar or any incidents from occurring? So maybe you checked the issue, and during checking the issue, you found out that the log rotate on the server doesn't work anymore. Fix it, because if not, you'll have like a disk space alert in a couple of minutes, right? So anything that come up during the incident or after the incident, after you sit with yourself a couple of minutes and thinking about it, if you can help in any way prevent similar or any incidents from occurring, that is great. And last but not least, does this incident require a post-mortem? Post-mortem, if you're not aware of, is basically a meeting that you conduct to learn from the incident. Emphasis, learn, not blame. If the post-mortem is blame, switch jobs, okay? It shouldn't be a blame kind of scenario. So we need to learn from incidents. Why did they happen? What was the root cause? How much time it taken us to learn about this root cause? How did we fix it? Why did we choose to fix it that way, etc. So if the incident requires a post-mortem, write down the notes as soon as possible while they're still fresh in your mind, because we want to have an effective meeting. And if we remember as much details as possible, it will help us have an effective meeting. And even if we don't need post-mortem meeting, still share the knowledge in a runbook or in a daily brief with your team, because that way people can learn from your line of thought. They can learn about the system flow from this incident, and it could be very beneficial for everyone. Okay, let's talk now a bit about war room conduct. So war room is when you have an incident that usually needs 4, 5, 6 people to handle the incidents because there are a lot of moving parts and stuff like that. And I wanna, in terms of the war room conduct itself, I wanna share with you a story that will help emphasize this. So in my previous company, I was new, just a month in the company, and it was during COVID times. And then there was a critical incident that took place. And then the war room was created, and how you create a war room in COVID times, Zoom, of course. So war room Zoom meeting got created, and since I was just a month in the team and in the company, I decided to just join the Zoom and just be a fly on the wall, listen in, learn from this, that's it. So I joined, and then 10 minutes, 12 minutes, nothing gets progress towards resolution. He speaks, and he pulls to this direction. And he said, no, and he pulls to this direction. And basically, everyone is speaking and blah, 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 and nothing really progressed towards resolution. And then I'm like, okay, it's 12 minutes that we are in downtime. We gotta do something. We can't be like this. I unmuted myself and I said, hi, everyone. My name is Hila, because some people didn't even know me because I was there only a month. Let me just help you just a bit, okay? And basically, I took upon myself the role of being an incident manager. So I started to basically telling people what to do. I divided the work between everyone. For example, someone said about the order of the application that needs to be run. I told them, wait, is there a run book that specifies how to start the application in the order necessary in order for the application to work? No. Okay, please, you sit down and write the run book. Why? Because if the incident gets resolved in an hour and this person is not available anymore, what, we're gonna wait for them? No. So we need a run book that everyone can use and utilize in order to start the application in the order necessary. So this is one example. And then I started to divide the work based on the things that I heard. And then, only then, stuff got started to actually progress towards resolution. So this incident manager needs to be calm and collected, and they need to see things clearly. It's good that I was like on the side because I was not a part of the mayhem, and I was able to be impartial and see things on the side. And also, the incident manager shouldn't be afraid of reducing people's involvement if it doesn't serve the purpose. So sometimes the same 2-3 people are needed throughout the entire incident, and sometimes someone is needed only to do X, and then that's it. So if you did this X, thank you, now go away. And it's okay. Don't be afraid to tell people to go away, because if not, some people have this tendency of hovering above other people and like, what are you doing? Like, and basically bug people. So if you're not needed, thank you for your help so far. Please go away. We will call you back if we need you back. So that's that. Okay. Now let's cover some necessary qualities for being an incident manager. And when I'm saying incident manager, I'm not saying only in a war room. Even dealing with an incident myself, it still means that I'm an incident manager in the incident that I'm currently managing. Of course, there are more than 10 qualities needed for being an incident manager, but these are the ones that I thought is worthwhile to emphasize here. And I'm going to share, of course, tips on how to improve those traits. So first of all, you need to think on your feet, be an impromptu action taker. Why? Because sometimes the incident that you have is something that you know of, and then you know exactly what to do. And sometimes it's in an uncharted territory. Maybe it's something that my team member implemented, and I don't know anything about it because they haven't written any documentation or did any demo yet to the team or something like that. So sometimes it could be in an uncharted territory. And we need to think on your feet and be ready for anything. So I say this sentence, it's like, yeah, easy for you to say, right? I have a solution to improve it. So how you can do that? By participating in brainstorming sessions. If you have any brainstorming session at work, like thinking about a new design or even simulate incidents at work or anything that simulates brainstorming sessions, it could help you practice this muscle of thinking on your feet, because these sessions are like ping pong scenarios. He said that, it reminds you of this, it goes that, and stuff like that. So if you participate in these kind of sessions, I assure you, you will see that your ability to think on your feet increases. Second thing, I mentioned it at the beginning, and I'm gonna mention it again because again, I've seen it a lot in my entire time of being on call in production, that people just focus on the non-relevant information. I'm like, dude, why? It's not important right now. Please, you know the flow? You don't know the flow. Okay, if you don't know the flow, tell me that you don't know the flow, and I'm gonna show you the flow, and then you'll understand why it's not important. Okay, so I've seen it happen a lot of the time. Please differentiate from the relevant from the irrelevant information. It will really help you doing debugging. How do you do it? If you learn system flow. So if you know the flows, if you know how things interconnect between systems and the architecture of the system itself, then your ability to differentiate between relevant and non-relevant information will definitely increase. Operate under pressure. So another story for you. I was in another company. I was also new. I don't know why these things keep on happening when I'm new in on-call. Just my luck, I guess. And I was new at the company, my first on-call shift, and critical incident, ops duty, no, it was pager duty. Pager duty filled like with 200 alerts, easy. I'm like, okay. I started checking like just a minute to grab a sense of what's going on. And then it was still while we were in the offices. I called my buddy. I had a buddy assigned to me. He was 2 years in the role, and I called him to sit next to me and help me solve the incident. So he said, here I had these two screens, and I'm talking while I'm looking at the screens. Like, okay, we have the 200 alerts. I check this. Not sure how to continue. What do you think? What to do? Crickets. Like for 3 seconds, which felt like the longest 3 seconds of my life, crickets. And then I'm looking at him, and he's shocked. He's looking at the two screens. He's like, so many alerts, so many alerts. I'm like, dude, snap out of it. It doesn't help us. Snap out of it. So true story. It happened. So yeah, we definitely need to operate under pressure and don't let the amount of alerts on the screen overwhelm us. And how do we operate under pressure? Collect relevant information, as I mentioned in the previous slide, because stress is a symptom of being out of control. And collection of relevant data will help you decrease stress levels, because when you know what to do, you are in control. So gather information, it will help you with debugging, it will setting things in motion and relieve pressure levels, because once you start the inertia of doing stuff, then you will feel that automatically the pressure gets released. Next, work methodical and to have faster incident resolution. Time is of the essence, right? So there is a pressure to solve things fast. Methodical work will help you gain faster incident resolution. How do you do that? Just follow the incident management process that I showed you just a couple of slides ago. If you follow it, you'll see that it will help you with methodical work, will definitely help you reach faster incident resolution. Next up, I really like this one. Be humble, okay? If you're stuck, please ask for help. I mentioned it a bit briefly in one of the previous slides. So this is not your time to shine, okay? If you have an incident and you don't know what to do, it's not like I will save the day. I'll fix the issue. I will save a lot of money for the company. I'll be the hero. I'll fix it. But if you don't know what to do, you're not gonna save money for the company. You are wasting money for the company because you are trying to, say I'm on it, and currently you don't have any leads and you don't know what to do. So this is not the way to help the company that you work for. And it's okay to not knowing what to do, okay? Not always we know what to do during incidents. Sometimes it's something that we know, sometimes it's not. And it's okay not to know. But the thing is that you really have a lot of opportunities in your day-to-day to prove yourself and to show that you can be of use to the company. So the best way to prove yourself on incidents, during incidents, is to take a step back if you don't know what to do, and escalate whenever you can think of things to do in order to fix the issue. So that way, it will show the company that you have the business interest in heart. You say, I don't know what to do. I don't want to have the downtime keep on going for this much. So I'm going to escalate very quickly to find someone that will help me fix the issue. So please, if you are humble and you're stuck, if you are stuck, be humble, ask for help. And I know it could be hard, and I have currently I have a team member that says I don't know how to ask for help. I always worked alone, and I don't have this ability to ask for help. So make a habit out of it. AKA, let's say you have a task. 10 minutes in, you Google some stuff, you don't know what to do, ask your team member for help. Even if you do know what to do, ask your team members for help. Practice it, make a habit out of it, and definitely, eventually, it will come. Being a problem solver, whatever is needed, a kind of assumption, kind of approach. So basically, I will not much to explain here. You need to be a problem solver. But the thing is that how do you do that? You need to have a can-do approach. So I dealt with a lot of people that they escalated the issue to me. And then I'm like, okay, let's check this, let's check that. And then they said, nah, I don't think it's related. It doesn't feel related. You know, the people that say it doesn't feel related. Do you have anything to back up this feeling? No. Okay, so can we check what I suggested? Do you have any other strong leads? No. So that's the thing. Some people say, I don't think, but they don't have, they're coming in a negative approach and not a positive one. So if you escalate it to me and you ask for my help and I suggested the lead and you currently don't have any other lead, don't say, I don't think it's related. Just check what I suggested, okay? Humor me, especially because you don't have any other leads to say that your lead is better. So that's that. Sense of ownership and initiative. So another story for you. I had an alert a couple of months ago, and I checked my side. Everything was looking okay, and it seems like the issue is on the database side. 2 a.m. I called the database guy, said, hi, sorry to wake you up. Flow X, this server, this source, trying to connect to your database Y, get this error. Can you please help? Yes, thank you. 10 minutes, 12 minutes, 15 minutes. I hear nothing back. Maybe he got back to sleep. I don't know what's going on. So that's the thing. I can't say, hey, he's a grown-up man and I should just trust him. I'm the on-call. I got the alert. I need to have a ownership of the alert, of the like end-to-end kind of ownership, and I need to check what's going on. So check statuses. If they don't push statuses to you, so don't be afraid to be a nag, because you have business interest in heart. You want to solve the issue as much as possible, or as quickly as possible. So ask this guy, hey, are you on it? Yes, I'm on it. Okay, cool. Do you need help? Do you know what to do? Yes. Okay, tell me. I don't need to pull it out of you. Okay, so check once in a while, like a couple of minutes, to see that it is ongoing. If they will take the hint and then start updating you, that's great. But of course, you don't want to nag too much because you want to let them work. But if you don't hear at all anything, you want to make sure the incident is being handled. So have a sense of ownership and initiative. Check statuses proactively in order to really understand that the incident is really getting managed. Good communicator. So we need to be communicative for a lot of different reasons. Why, right? We need to explain the issues for others that help out. We need to communicate the issue for escalation purposes, for customer engineers, or any of this sort. So communication is very, very important. And I know that not all people are good with communication. I have a lot of people that in my work that whenever I have an issue, and they fix the issue, they just write in the Slack, fixed, check now, right? You know, these kind of people. Okay, can you help? Can you tell me what did you do? Maybe I can do it next time. I would love to know the root cause and not just have a fixed check now and like job security and stuff like that, okay? So communication is very, very important. And I'm not saying these people are doing it out of spite. I really think that they don't know how to communicate better. So how can we help those people? We can set up communication guidelines. So basically, define a process that actually tells people what channels should be used, what content is expected in those channels, and how communication should be documented. And that way, if people will just follow the process, then they will automatically communicate whatever needs to be communicated, even if it doesn't come from their initiative. They just follow a process, and then the relevant things are getting communicated. Lead without authority, okay? So it's important mostly in a war room scenario, but not only, also if you need to communicate and escalate to several people, this is the case as well. So if you are nice and confident and you make people feel at ease and you project and everything under control, kind of a facade, then people will listen to you and follow your lead. How do you practice it? Manage meetings, manage daily syncs, manage demos at work, manage all sorts of meetings at work, and this way you will see what are your weakest points. Why, if people listen to you, great. If they're not listening to you, what could you do differently? Because if they don't listen to you during a meeting, they would most definitely won't listen to you during an incident. So practice this, understand your weaker points, improve them, and then you will see that once you improve those things, you will be able to lead without authority and actually be an incident manager through war room as well. And last but not least, you need to care. Okay, you can't do anything of what I'm showing throughout this entire presentation if you don't care, because I'm showing a lot of approaches that are based on proactivity and initiative and stuff like that. And if you don't care, you can't do any of those. You'll just say, and that's it. So you really have to care in order to do all of these things. How do you practice care? Get more involved, okay? Ask the questions to find your motivation, and hopefully you will find your inner care. If you do, great. If not, again, switch jobs. Maybe it's not worth it. And you need to always find a place that will connect the dots inside you and will help you do things because you care and not because you are told to do those things. Okay, let's get back to the agenda. So we covered mindset. We covered the incident flow, a structured process that will help us manage incidents more effectively. We covered on-call traits. Now let's see how can we be proactive both in our day-to-day and after an incident took place in order to come prepared for incidents. Why do we need to come prepared for incidents? You know the Fuji song, ready or not, here I come. Okay? It doesn't really matter if you're ready or not. They will come. Okay? So better be prepared for any incidents that will happen. After the fact, after an incident took place, what can you do in order to be prepared? On-call shifts handoffs. I'm not sure if this is something that happens in a lot of companies, because I was in a very big company and I was the one to suggest it, so I assumed it is not something that is widely adopted. But basically it means that, let's say I was on an on-call shift and my shift ended and stuff happened during the shift, like I suppressed false positive alerts, I had a recurrent issue, alert X is waiting for dev to check it out, stuff like that. These kind of things could potentially resolve during my incident and could potentially carry out to the next on-call shift. So summarize those things in a summary that you put in Slack, in your team member Slack, and then send it out to your entire team. Again, it should be only a summary, 1-2 paragraphs tops. Usually I do it with the bullet points, like alert X, like as I just read, this waits for X, this is X and Y, stuff like that. So it should be very summarized, very to the point, and that way, first of all, it's good for audit purposes, but also for team member success, because again, maybe on the next on-call shift, an incident will happen that happened in my shift, and then we discover it is recurrent. Maybe it happened for the first time on my shift, and then the other team member will say, hey, I know this incident because Hila had it as well. So then we will understand it's recurrent. We will maybe understand why is it recurring, something happened there. It will help us connect the dots. It will help us approach the incident much more efficiently. So that's why these on-call shifts handoffs are very, very important. And it will help the team members manage the incidents generally, because if they see, for example, I have an alert that waits for dev to fix it, and I didn't close the alert, I just put, I don't know, remind me in 12 hours, okay, what does this mean? I didn't put any notes, for example. I had a lot of team members that put no notes in the incident. Did you touch this alert, or you just suppressed it and go back to sleep? I have no idea. So having the summary is very, very good to understand what's going on, to help other team members in their on-call shift etc. Postmortem notes, as I mentioned before, if we write down the notes as soon as possible, we will have a better and more efficient meeting. And even if you don't have a need of a postmortem meeting, do a mental check with yourself. Do a retrospective with yourself, see what you could have done better. I show you, you will find some very insightful things about yourself that you saw that you could have done better, and will help you for your next incidents to come. New tasks. So I mentioned it also before. If you have anything that comes to mind to prevent the next incident or to stabilize the environment, open new tasks to do that, and then it could potentially like not cancel, like prevent the next incidents from happening. So that's always a good thing to do. Modify alerts. So if you have any fixed positive alerts, and I know that I'm some things I'm repeating because you know how it goes with presentations. You say something once, and if you repeat it, then it will actually get in the heads of people. So the things that I repeat, I really want you to take with you and basically implement in your day-to-day. So modify any alerts that has a false positive or anything that needs to be fixed. And please don't wait for the next on-call to do it, because they will wait for the next on-call to do it, and they will wait, and they will wait, and then it will never happen. So please fix it yourself. Incident runbooks, again, if you have runbooks in place, make sure they are up to date. And if you don't have any runbooks, make sure, yes? Not on my computer, but we can talk later and I can show you. But I can cover like a general idea of what is a runbook. So let's say we have a system, okay, like a microservice that throws different kind of logs, okay, errors in the logs. So you sit with the dev guy and they say, yeah, we have this microservice. It's very quite simple. When it throws different errors, you need to do several things. So create a runbook for these kind of errors. If you see error X in the log, then you need to do this. If you see error Y, you need to immediately escalate to dev, because you have nothing to do on your side, you need to escalate. So based on the system, and that's why you always need to learn the systems themselves. Based on the system, you will know how to construct the runbook, and that will help you the most. Runbooks for disk spaces could be a different disk space scenario or a process for databases and for regular servers. Like regular servers, just delete varlog messages, .3.gz, that's it. But for databases, it's a bit different. So have different runbooks for that. So based on the systems that you have, you will be able to construct a very helpful and useful runbooks. If it helps you, I'll repeat it, if you have a need to understand the dependencies, yeah, so cover them in the runbook themselves. Usually, and I actually had yesterday a talk about technical documentation and how you shouldn't put information and how-tos in the same document, because if I'm on an incident, I don't care about the background at the moment, I just care of how to do something. So you should have a link to the interconnections and how things work. But if it is crucial to fix the issue, then you could put it in the runbook. Let's say you can put like a very thin flow of the system that you are currently working with. Here is the runbook for this part of the chain. That this doesn't work, here's a link to the second part, and then you link to another document because you don't want the document to be that long. And it always, a runbook should always be linked to a certain alert. And usually alert is for a specific area of the chain and not the entire system. So based on the alert and based on the system itself, you know how to construct the documents, and basically you always need to make sure that the runbooks are like standalone. Each deal with one concept, one alert, and then link to other consecutive or other might-related kind of alerts. So runbooks, make sure they are up to date, make sure that they are even exist, because it will be very useful. Automation, maybe you can find candidates for self-remediation, disk space stuff, anything of this sort. If there are alerts that are repetitive and you always do the same thing to fix them. And even if you don't do the same thing, maybe you can do some sort of a simple logic. It shouldn't be something complex, because if it's complex, you probably need a human intervention to fix it. But if it's quite a simple logic, then it could be possibly be a candidate for self-remediation. You can create an automation for that, and then incidents will be resolved by their own, and wouldn't need you to wake up in the middle of the night and fix those. And last but not least, for the after effect after the incident took place, if you handle the issue, share the knowledge. Okay, you didn't have postmortem, doesn't matter. Share the knowledge. Do a demo at work. Do a sync in your team, because people can learn from this line of thought. They can learn about the system flow from this incident, and could be very, very beneficial for everyone. So share the knowledge. For the day-to-day, aka in your, let's say you're working, everything is good, you didn't have an incident for, I don't know, 2 weeks, great. But still, you couldn't be on the fence. You need to do things to still be alert on your own, like not alert in the app, but be alert on what's going on. So the on-call shift handoffs that I mentioned before, I'm mentioning it here again in terms of reading them on ongoing basis. So it usually means that you are not the only one to create the on-call shift handoffs. Your other team members should also engage in that as well. And you need to read them in an ongoing basis. Why? Because production runs 24/7, okay? And not only when you are on call. So you should always know what's going on there. And if you want to be on top of things and get up to date, you should want to do it and have to be up to date, because if you are, especially if you're the production or gatekeeper, or even any handler of production, if you push things to production, you should know what's going on there. Then reading these handoffs is the way to be up to speed with what's going on in production. And also, you could also pitch in and help make things better, because things from the side helps in a lot of scenarios. So let's say you read the summary and say, hey, I dealt with something similar in my previous job, or I have a solution, or I have a suggestion to improve this. And then you can even improve processes or incidents or systems just by reading on-call shift handoffs. It could be helpful for everyone. So read them on an ongoing basis. Again, production runs 24/7. You need to know what's going on there, even when you're not on call. Escalation point of contacts. So you know the needed pieces of information related to your realm. My realm is infrastructure. But the thing is that you should know other realms as well. So let's say there's an issue with X. I checked my side of things. Everything looks from the infrastructure side. And now I need to escalate it to dev. How do I know who's dev? In my previous company, we had 70 services running, and I need to just, whenever something happens, I need to check who's responsible for service X. Problematic. So if I know upfront, you can have a document, you could have a fabulous memory to remember it by your own, but you need to know who are the people responsible for handling services on dev side, on maybe it's UI UX side, whatever. If you know the people that are handling things upfront, then you can escalate more quickly and not in the middle of the night. Hey, my team member or team leader, hi, sorry to wake you in the middle of the night. Can you tell me who's managing X from dev side? This is why you waked me up. Thank you. Why didn't you know that, like, on your day-to-day? Oh, this is what I'm doing right now. Okay, so if you know upfront who's managing a service X, login service, financial service, whatever, from dev side upfront, then you know who to call. It reduces downtime, because you already know who to call, and you don't waste time chasing people in the middle of the night and understanding who's responsible for it. And it will save time, like sleep time, for your team leader, that you don't need to call them. Understanding system architecture. So if we understand system architecture, that way we know what's prone to fail and have a go-to to fix it. So we should specifically put emphasis on weaker areas or vulnerabilities that could potentially fail more, and any sensitive or blast radius scopes these kind of things tend to have more issues, and then alerts will be probably connected to them. So if you know the system architecture, you're able to have a go-to to fix it. You know, you have the alerts, you say, I know that because I know the sensitive areas, then you know what to do and you are more familiar with it. Learn application flows. So the difference between this point and the previous one is understand system architecture is within the system, and learn application flows is between systems. Okay, so if you know the application flows between systems, that way you know exactly the chain of events to check whenever something happens. So I started with here, I go check the logs here, everything looks great here. If I know the flow, I know exactly what to check next. Then my debugging is much more fluent. I can do things much more quickly, and it will also help you incorporate the business mindset, because you understand if escalation is needed, to who, and if the issue is actually an incident, maybe you discover it's not, etc. So learning application flows could really help you in your day-to-day, come prepared for incidents once things actually happen. Team members' tasks. So it's very easy for me to focus only on my tasks during the day-to-day, but sometimes production changes through other team members' tasks as well. And you should get involved and be aware of latest changes that could rock the boat, and learn how their tasks affect production, if any. Sometimes they do tasks that don't affect, and sometimes they do. So if they do, please make sure that you know what these changes are about. And another thing that I need to explain here, so team members' tasks could lead to production changes and could not, as opposed to deployments and direct changes in prod, which are definitely, most definitely, are happening in production. So these are the ones that you should definitely know about. And you should ask about the changes that they are doing and the possible impact. And again, Ops Genie or PagerDuty doesn't care if you didn't do the change yourself. It will call you anyway if you're on call. So might as well be prepared and know about these changes, and not in the middle of the night call the team member and say, hey, you remember the deployment that you did yesterday? Can you tell me what it is about in 3 a.m. And explain what's going on? So you should do it in your day-to-day while your team members are still awake. And then in the middle of the night, if something happens that's related to that change, you know exactly what to do. And last but not least, be a go-to person. So is the sentence, if you build it, they will come, right? So if you are a go-to person, you will get push notifications, and basically people will come to you to consult, to tell you, yeah, I did a cool thing, or I want your input on X, Y, Z, and it will decrease the need to fetch the updates on your own, because people will come to you and basically give you these inputs and updates on themselves, you know. Okay, so basically that's it. This is the whole, as we say in Hebrew, Torah of incident management, the whole idea of incident management. So if you want to not only talk the talk, but also walk the walk when it comes to incident management, have your qualities in check, make the process structured, and be proactive. And that way you will come prepared to any incident that will cross your way, and hopefully also prevent the next incident from happening. And remember, less incidents means less downtime, means business success, which is eventually your success. Plus, you get to preserve much needed hours of sleep. Thank you very much. I think we have a couple of minutes for questions, if any.
Thanks for presentation. First of all, very useful. I take most of the notes from this presentation.
Thank you.
Wix is obviously a big company. How do you operate at Wix exactly? Do you have like a global incident manager, or it's when accident happens, you just, whoever is on call starts all the operations?
You mean in my current company?
Yes. Oh, from your experience, what is the best approach?
So throughout my career, we actually talked about it before the presentation. It started out with a NOC team, right? That's like usually a group of students that has this bunch of screens, and then they triage the alerts, they get it, and then it's a finance service, we will direct it to the relevant team. Now, if you use Prometheus and Grafana, but what I'm talking about is specifically for Prometheus. It has mechanism to direct the alerts themselves. So you can say the alert severity is critical, low, blah, blah, and to which channel, it's not Slack channel, it's just a channel, it's how they call it in the Prometheus, channel to direct the alert to. And then once you say DevOps, then the alert will go to DevOps. Some alerts needs to go to dev directly. Like there's no need at all for me to see them because 100% of the times it's something that the dev needs to handle. So this type of alerts needs to go directly to dev. So you can manage it whenever you add the alerts. Also, when you add the alert, you should have a link to runbook already, and then it will be good. And then once this happens, once you have this correct way, for me it's correct, a way to introduce new alerts to the system, everything is already defined. You know exactly which team needs to handle it. You have a runbook to help you fix it if you don't know what to do, and stuff like that. And then it will be much more structured, even introducing new alerts to the system. Did I answer your question?
So do you have like a separate role for incident manager, or is just as PagerDuty rules whoever team is responsible for that service?
Everything is defined on Prometheus. Everything. We don't have anything like on our side, no triage beforehand. Just everything is defined there. We do have like a central Prometheus, but then we have a way to define our own alerts. So the Prometheus itself is managed by the monitoring team, but then we have our way to add our own alerts. And then once we do it, we need to say to specify the team name, and then it will directly direct the alerts to the team with the runbooks and everything.
If it's possible, I think it's pretty good if you have a public, not public, but inside of the company a change log where you can see where there will be downtime. So if you experience downtime, you can see, okay, this is actually not a problem. This is because somebody's doing stuff.
So there is. We do have like a Slack channel called System Changes. Whenever something is planned, they usually post there. That's why I emphasis on usually. Sometimes they don't post it, and then like something happened that affect me because it's like they do changes in Chef, and then I get affected because my servers get it even though I didn't do the change myself. I'm like, what happened? I didn't touch anything, and then I'm going to. It's not in the channel because they didn't post about it, and then I go to another channel which is not related, and then we did a change in Chef. Okay, why didn't you put it in System Changes? So these kind of things are good, but we need to make sure that we have the culture in the company that we know that communication is super important, especially if we have components that are cross company. So we always need, whatever we do, we always need to post them in the System Changes or whatever channel that you have. And that way people will know and have a go to, like, if something happens on their side, let's see if something happened on System Changes to make sure they have something to hold on to. Because if not, I'm starting to, okay, like I'm grasping up, I don't know the phrase, there is a phrase in English for that, grasping, I don't, but I'm trying to deal and understand what's going on, even though it's something that is not related to my side at all. So it makes it more complex. So especially when there are changes that are cross-wide the entire company, you even more need to have this culture of communication and showcase people what you did in order to make sure everyone is aware that if something happened, they can link it to any changes that happened.
First of all, very good presentation.
Thank you.
What I would like is to emphasize a little bit via tooling. So you mentioned that you have Prometheus, and but I would like to understand. Yeah, Prometheus collects the data from different, so just to see if the systems are online or not, etc. But how about the manual thing that are reported via phone call or something that something doesn't work? And is it Prometheus the only one who effectively helps besides Jira and so on? So if you can provide a little bit more insights about the tooling and what you can do to automate a little bit the things, because the flow is quite nice, you presented, but I would like to know how we can make the life easier in a way to try to automate the things. So if you have this kind of experience.
Not sure I got what you meant exactly. Let me know if so. So whenever you define the alert severity, then you can define in Opsgenie or PagerDuty or whatever tool that you're using, what to do in this severity. So you can say if the alert is critical, then escalate and page like immediately. Page immediately by phone, or first of all do like a page in the app, and after 2 minutes, if the alert wasn't get acknowledged, then call. So based on the severity, you can define on the app what to do, and then you get it however you get it, through the app, through phone call and stuff like that. Is this what you meant?
So yes, something like this. But then how do you centrally collect these ones?
How do what?
Centrally collect and escalate these ones. So
why do I need to centrally collect them? If they are based on teams, like each team has their own alerts. So whenever they define it and they define the severity for each alert, then the app acts upon it.
Okay, it's totally fine. Thank you. You've answered. We can discuss offline.
Offline, okay.
Thank you.
I'll just say that maybe it's related. If you want to see like to analyze incidents, then you can collect them from an API of PagerDuty or Opsgenie, and then have a dashboard of all incidents, and then you can see how long it took to solve an incident, how many incidents have per team, and then you can have a way to analyze incidents after they happen. So like mostly it's for business purposes, to see if processes need to be defined or improved in specific areas of the company and stuff like that. But yeah, definitely you should have a dashboard that collects all incidents to have a better analysis of what's going on, and to see if other things need to be improved, not only incident to incident basis, but throughout the company.
First of all, thank you. This has been a really interesting talk, and I feel like I've learned a lot.
Thank you.
You touched on automations that we could use in our systems to basically improve our flows and our architecture. And I was just wondering if you had any specific examples of automations that have been particularly useful for your systems.
So in my previous company, we just started out to create this automation. I don't remember the tool that they used. I'll try to recall after. I don't remember, but he showcased like it was a tool that used some sort of a graph visualization, that if this happens, like what I mentioned about the runbooks, it just visualize it in the tool, and then if this happens, it invokes a script, it invokes something. So it created the runbook that I described just in a visual graph, and then based on each step, it does something, invoke a script or do any other step that helps you progress towards the next step. I don't remember the tool name, but I'm sure it can be Googled and we can find. But just search based on visual graph for incident management runbook, stuff like that, and probably will find it. Any more questions? Going once? Cool. Thank you very much for being here.